Moreover, smallholder farming household heads in the study area are finding it progressively challenging to fulfill their welfare. Here, individuals are forced to supplement their income derived from limited land resources and manage agricultural uncertainties through low yield daily labor employment, the sale of firewood, selling local beverages like al-laraki, engagement in handicraft enterprises such as weaving, blacksmithing, and pottery work, etc. Several determinants of non-farm still participation were identified. For instance, research by these researchers have investigated non-farm activity in the context of food security. Similarly, Ryman and study honed on the impact of non-farm activities on farm income. Additionally, this individual researcher also study focused on household welfare, measuring it project monthly through farm income. Again, this researcher also explored the link between non-farm activities and the farm productivity. The study by this guy also based on income diversification strategy as indicator of rural welfare. However, these preceding studies primarily concentrated on singular aspect of rural welfare indicators, failing to encompass its multi-phased nature. The current study bridges this knowledge gap by adopting a multi-dimensional approach to welfare, considering various aspects such as consumption, income diversification strategy, farm income, gender equality, and food security. When we come to, based on this gaps, the research question includes this, because this study has 5 objectives. There are 5 research questions. Non-farm employment increase rural household consumption in the study area. What are the determinants of non-farm diversification strategy? What are the factors that determine women participation in non-farm activity? What is the influence of non-farm activity on farm income? Does non-farm affect rural household food security? Are the questions for this study. Now, based on this, the study's objectives include the general objective is to access non-farm employment and the welfare indicators of rural household in the study area, and the specific objectives include analyze the impact of non-farm employment on the consumption of household in the study area, identify factors that influence non-farm diversification strategies in the study area, examine the factors affecting rural women's non-farm participation in the study area, investigate the influence of non-farm participation on farm income. Again, finally, examine the effect of non-farm on rural household with food securities are the objective of this study. Based on this, we have a conceptual framework. The conceptual framework is, again, the factors that affect the dependent variables classified into 3: demographic factors, economic factors, and institutional factors. These factors affect either the determinants of women participation, income diversification strategy. Again, we have non-farm participation, influences food security, consumption, and farm income. That this conceptual by reviewing different literatures. Now, when we come to the study area, the location of the study map is look like this. They directly go to the research design. There is research design for the study is focused on cross-sectional research design. Now the other is source of the data. For the source of data, it is a primary data that is collected from the respondents. First, the questionnaire was designed by using English language and then translated into Afan Oromo, the way in which it is clear for the respondents. The other is sample size determination and sampling procedure. For sampling, determining of the sampling, this study used the Kotari 2004 based on this formula here. Finally, and the data household behaviors obtained from custom and revenue authorities of the zone. The total heads was this one, and finally 383 sample size was determined for this study. Sample size selection procedure. In order to select the style, this study goes through a multi-stage random sampling techniques. The first stage, Horro Gudru Wallaga zone, was purposefully selected. Then in the second stage, all districts within the steady area, that means Horro Gudru Wallaga, classified based on their climatic condition into three, Daga, Waina Daga, and partially Kolla. In this case, the sub-stage districts were selected randomly in proportion to the number of travelers from each strata, and finally 383 based on this sample proportional formula method. 383 household heads were selected for this stadium. This is a sample selection procedure. Now when we come to how to analyze the data for this study. For this, the study of the objectives, we used we have five objectives. For these five objectives, we have five different econometric models. For the first is econometric modeling the impact of non-farm on consumption, whether the non-farm affects consumption or not. The econometric model we used is Heckman two-step model. Now for this Heckman two-step model, for the first model, there is a selection model, that means using the Probit selection model is the first step, and for the second, that means the outcome is here, that is used by or analyzed by the OLS method, and here we have inverse means ratio that is obtained from the selection equation, the first step. Based on this, the first of the objective or the impact of non-farm on consumption was developed. For the second objective, determinants of income diversification strategies. For income diversification strategies, there are different strategies. That means it may be on-farm, off-farm, and the farm activities. This study we selected using multivariate Probit model. For multivariate Probit, for different, more than two responses, here we use for on-farm, non-farm, and off-farm activity is the method we use this model. And for objective 3, econometric modeling of women's non-farm participation. For this participation, it is a dummy variable. For a dummy variable, there are different econometric techniques, but for this study, we use logit model. For this, that they state finally by logis of ages or this ratio, we developed this linear equation for analyzing the determinants of non-farm participation for women. The fourth objective, econometric modeling the effect of non-farm on farm income. Whether non-farm, that non-farm is a dummy variable, farm is a continuous variable. To analyze this, we use the endogenous treatment effect model. For the endogenous treatment effect model, the treatment variable is identified, the outcome variable is identified, treatment variable is non-farm participation, the outcome variable is farm income. Here, based on that, stage 1 non-farm, that means treatment variable, DI is the response either positive or not, developed here. And then the second stage is the linear, the outcome variable is developed by using these endogenous treatment effects. The fifth objective is modeling effect of non-farm activities on food security. Or the endogenous switching registration model was used for analyzing this effect of non-farm on food security. Now here we have two, that means the outcome and the selection model. Here the endogenous, food security in kilocalorie intake per liter adult equivalent is in two regions, region 1 and region 2. When the region 1, they are participating, and in non-farm, region 2, where they are not participating in non-farm activities. Based on this, the outcome and the selection model was developed to analyze the effect of non-farm on food security. This is the actual and the counterfactual relation was developed in this way. We will see in the analyzing part. And then when we come to the results and the discussion. In result and the discussion, for the first objective, does non-farm increase household consumption? Now, in order to analyze the effect or the impact of non-farm on household consumption, the model used was Heckman two-step models. In addition to the econometric result, we used again the descriptive analysis for continuous and the dummy variables to check whether there is a mean difference and variance difference between the two groups. Let's jump for this and let directly go to show the first step of the profit regression model. You can see from this slide, we have different variables that affect non-farm. For the first stage of Heckman, non-farm participation is the selection model. Here, the variables, access to credit, access to the train, age are positively affecting non-farm participation. The dependent ratio and the distance to market, that is the location that affects negatively non-farm activity. Gender again affect whether being a male head or female head. There is a negative relation with that of non-farm activity. Land size negatively affect, household health status positively affect, land size negatively affect, marital status, and the membership to ECOP. That is a traditional saving type is positively affecting non-farm activity. Own saving positively affect, on mobile negatively affected, but the expectation for this study was to positively affect, but the result comes negative. Tropical livestock unit negatively affect non-farm participation. When we come to the second stage result, that means outcome result, how different variables affect consumption of households. Non-farm participation here, it is positively and statistically significantly affecting this household consumption. This tells us the effect of non-farm positively on consumption of households. Access to credit, access to train, age positively affect, dependent ratio, distance to the market negatively affect, education positively affect consumption. Again, gender negatively affects the consumption of household. Land size again negatively affects the current consumption of households. Marital status positively affects this consumption. The other membership to ECOP, own mobile, own saving, tropical livestock unit are the variables that statistically and significantly affecting household consumption. And finally, the inverse meals ratio. The result of the inverse meals ratio, it tells us it is positive and statistically significant consumption. It tells us in this model, using this model, there is a selection via. And using this Heckman model is the best fit for using the impact assessment of the impact of non-farm on farming, consumption. Here is the result what I said already. The second objective is determinant of rural household health livelihood diversification study. Again, for this different diversification strategy, households may use different systems. That means, as we said, there are different alternatives to engage or as a source of income diversifying and livelihood strategies. This study used descriptive statistics results, whether there is a mean difference between this one, and let's directly go to show you this is different types of income diversification strategy, whether it is handicrafted, weaving, livestock rearing, irrigation, and others. That is a sample, simply to show you. When we come to the econometric result, by using multivariate probability model, farming, non-farming, and off-farming are a different diversification strategy. The result shows that age, education, tropical livestock unit, there are variables that positively affect farming, that negatively also affect non-farming and off-farming. All these variables do not show equal effect on the different diversification strategy. Now, to summarize this result, the whole multivariate probability result is we have predicted probability, we have joint probability success, and the joint probability failure. This result tells us the predicted probability of engaging or participating in farming activity is 62.17%. Non-farming is 31.47%, whereas for off-farming is 6.37%. This tells us the majority of rural households engage in farming, and the highest is in farming, and the lowest is in off-farming. Again, joint probability success tells us that is 0.48. This tells us if households engage in these three things, that means farming, non-farming, and off-farming, as they're participating together, their profitability is very high, that is 48%. It is almost half, that means 50%. So it is advisable for households to diversify in all these things to be profitable, and their probability failure is almost, it is moderate, 35%. This is the result that shows us the relationship between variables and the income diversification strategies. The third objective is, does non-farm affect household farming income? As I have already said, farming income is a continuous variable and the non-farm is a dummy variable. We use income, that model we use is the endogenous treatment effect. Now for this one, the endogenous treatment effect, we have here from the slide, as you can see, non-farm participation is the first stage and farming income is the second stage. That means the outcome, non-farm participation, the coefficient is very high and it is statistically significant. This tells us non-farm participation has a positive effect of increasing of income, farm income for rural heads. Age, family size positively affect non-farm participation. Again, age, it positively affects both the output and the selection equation. Education, it affects positively for non-farm activity and the farm income. There is non-farm opportunity. There is mental variable for studies, non-farm opportunity. It is significant, highly significant, that affects non-farm participation. This tells us generally the variables that positively affect farm income. Here, extension service positively affect farm income. Education, it affects both positively. Education, it affects both. Access to trade, it affects both farm and non-farm activities. Marital status positively affects non-farm participation and the farm income. The other gender negatively affects this non-farm participation and the farm income. Access to credit positively affects both farm and the non-farm activities. This is how to show the first stage and the second stage. That means the endogenous variable and the farm income. Here is the result of the fourth objective. And the third objective. The fourth is determinants of women non-farm participation. In order to analyze the determinants of women non-farm participation, what are the factors that affect women in the study area? Here, to generally different factors affect these women, and the econometric model for logic model is here. Before looking this logic or this ratio, there are also descriptive statistics that shows whether there is a mean difference and variance difference between the groups, participant and non-participants. But since there is the time is very short, I use only to show you the variables that econometric part only. Now, this age negatively affects women non-farm participation. Education is positively affecting women non-farm participation. There is a dependence ratio. The dependent ratio negatively affects the participation. Access to trade and access to credit both affect negatively women non-farm participation. Marital status and having children below 5 years negatively affect. The number of active labor force affects negatively, positively. Tropical livestock and the distance to the market are the factors that negatively affect women non-farm participation. And the objective 5, does non-farm participation improve rural household food security? Now, based on this, there are econometric models, endogenous switching regression model, in order to analyze whether there is the actual and the counterfactual types. Here, the marginal effect of the profit estimated for the first stage. Here is to show the relationship between variables and the dummy variables, that means participation in non-farm activity. There are factors, age, education, and extension service participation affect negatively, positively. Tropical livestock negatively affect. Here, access to trade positively affect non-farm participation. distance to market, family size negatively affect. In gender, there is a negative relationship. Again, access to credit positively affect. Being a membership to pharmacy cooperative is positively, it is negatively affecting non-farm participation. These are the relationship between that one. When we come to see the effect of non-farm participation on food security by using endogenous switching regression model. Here we have the participants. There is also the counterfactual effects. If the category food calorie intake per day per adult equivalent and the binary food security binary, that means whether they are food security or insecurity based on the international standard of food security, 2,200 kilocalorie per day per adult equivalent, where we can say food security or not food security. Here, if household is participants have decided to participate, their kilocalorie intake is 2,737. If these participants had decided not to participate, their kilocalorie is 1,224. This tells us the decreasing of food security, the decreasing due to non-participating in non-farm activity, ATT, average treatment on treated, that it is lost, shows. When we come to non-participants had decided to participate, again the kilocalorie intake increases from 1,224 to 1,891. Again, if non-participant had decided not to participate, again it is again decreasing. So this tells average treatment on untreated is 162. When the figure is very small, it shows the positive effect of non-farm on food security of households. Similar definition for binary food security. Let's pass to the next. This is the definition what we already said. Now comparing the outcome, we have the outcome, that means using whether endogenous switching regression, inverse probability weighting, and probability score matching technique, which one is the best fit for analyzing the effect of non-farm on food security. The outcome of the endogenous switching regression model are compared against estimates derived using PSM kernel-based matching with bandwidth of 0.0. I will show you on the table, and the common support normal, and the inverse probability weighting methods. The average treatment effects from all three techniques are summarized in the following. Here, when we compare, inverse probability weighting is 732, endogenous switching regression is 836, and for propensity score matching 903. We compare, and for binary, here all three things are significant. And by comparing all these things, which one best fit for using this measuring the effect? Here, endogenous switching regression, 836, is higher than that of inverse probability weighting, indicating greater variability or less fit. Despite this, endogenous switching regression may better handle unobserved confounding compared to inverse probability weighting. The other, the propensity score matching 903 value is the highest, indicating the most variability or the least fit among the three methods. The inverse probability weighting 732.41 value indicating the variability or fit of the inverse probability weighting model. This technique effectively balances observed covariance, resulting in the lowest variability among the three methods, but may less handle unobserved confounding compared to endogenous switching regression. Because of this endogenous switching regression, best fit for analyzing the model. Here we have summary, conclusion, and recommendation. The study aimed to investigate the relationship between non-farm activities and the welfare of rural households. Key finding of the study reveals that factors, economic factors, demographic factors, and institutional factors are the major that affects the welfare of rural households in the study area. The study also investigated that non-farm positively affect consumption, income, and food sector. Based on the findings of the study, several recommendations were made to inform policy interventions and promote economic empowerment in the study areas. One, prioritize educational programs, especially for household heads, to enhance adaptability and increase their likelihood of engaging in non-farm activities. The other, developing a means to reduce distance that can reduce travel time and the costs. The other is the government officials are advised to promote gender equality in access to resource, decision-making, and economic opportunities. Support and encourage traditional saving, such as ECO, members to enhance financial management skills and stability. Government is advised to expand the reach of microfinance institutions to provide affordable credit to rural households for non-farm activities. Emphasize the empowering role of education and training for women, facilitating their active involvement in non-farm activities. Then finally, provide access to extension service that play a crucial role in transferring knowledge and best practice to heads. Promote a balanced approach to income diversification, ensuring that increased focus on non-farm activity does not lead to neglect of agricultural production. The development should balance between agriculture and non-agriculture. Tailor interventions, considering household dynamics, acknowledging the influence of family size, marital status, and age on both farm and non-farm activities. Foster a culture of entrepreneurship and innovation, encouraging individuals to explore non-farm opportunities. Here, the information is publication from this dissertation. The first, does non-farm employment increase rural household consumption in the study area? Here, Helion, under the publisher of Elsevier. The other is factors affecting rural women's participation in non-farm activity in Western Ethiopia. It is in Science, Technology, and Arts Research Journal, Walaga University, and accepted articles. In the recent is the effect of non-farm participation on household farm income, cogent food and agriculture, and under review, does non-farm increase rural household food security, cogent business and economics. This information concerning the publication. Thank you very much. Welcome for comments and questions.